Good evening, everybody. It is now June 2025. Oh my God. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Scouching Live. It is a big month. It's the beginning of a big month here over at Scouching Live. By the way, it is also, by the way, I should mention that it is Pride Month. So I hope everybody has a good time doing whatever it is they do, being who they are. And anyway, we're joined, speaking of people who are who they are, Sam McGilligan is here. How are you, dude? We're going to do a mock draft tonight. We're going to do a whole first round. And we brought Sam along because
for the
he's just fun.
chaos.
Yeah, he's just a fun guy, fun party time, you know. How have you been?
I've been just dandy. How
Yeah,
are you guys?
doing well. We are
Yeah.
we are in the home stretch. The will to continue working is very slow and it is dramatically dropping off, but we're getting there, you know,
Yes, you
one
are.
report after the other. By the way, any subscribers to the website over at scouching.ca, 2 new reports went up today. So you can access the playlist for all the reports up there. We got who came out today? Oh, it was Ben Kindle and Keyshawn Aitchison. And we got a few more on the way. So we're now up to, how many have we done now? Like 13, 15, something like that. Anyway, a good amount. It's a good time. But anyway, Sam is here. We're going to do a mock draft. We're not going to waste too much time. Before we get into it, we have to somehow decide who will pick 31st and who will pick 32nd, which also means we have to tell everyone who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Sam, between Edmonton and the Florida Panthers,
Oilers
yeah, the Oilers. You're going Oilers.
vibes.
I think AJ, do you agree? By the way, AJ's here too, by the way. Yeah, he's still here.
Do I agree? I mean, I've picked against Edmonton literally every time so far this playoff. And you know what? I'm going to do it again. Just for the memes. Just for the memes.
The Toronto fan is running it back. No Oilers, go Panthers. I'm going to go with Sam. I think Connor McDavid.
Well, then why'd you ask me?
Because then I can be a tiebreaker. And we can then say the Oilers will be the last team that picks. Well, the Flyers, I should say, because the Flyers have their pick. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to go with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and the Band of Merry Men pulling it off somehow.
Honestly, I actually think Edmonton might win. I just wanted to make Rayanne mad. That's all I wanted to do.
Oh, right. Yeah, you got to get the points in against him. Yeah, that's our graphic designer, Oilers fan who you know, is best friends with Evan Bouchard now. You know, they're pals, and yeah, you gotta put a stick in his mud. Well, never mind. Forget about what that sentence. Let's get into the the mock draft here. So what we're gonna do, I guess we have to decide also who goes first between the two of us. I don't know how we want to do that. I didn't even think of that until we hit live.
Stream rock paper scissors.
That sounds like a disaster, but I'm willing to try it.
Do we go on 3 or do we go on like rock, paper, scissors?
Like rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, shoot.
I'm a shoot kind of guy myself.
You're a shoot guy.
Yeah.
Careful. We don't want to get demonetized. Okay, well, I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Make sure your hand ends up in frame when you...
Here, I'll block it with my fist.
Very much in frame.
All right, AJ, you're the referee.
All right, you guys can go.
Okay, nice.
Do your thing.
You gotta count it.
Do I? That's what you want me to do?
Okay. Rock, paper. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, we gotta go again.
Go again. Paper, scissors, shoot.
Nice, I'm going first.
All right,
Makes
there
sense,
you go.
because I've got the Islanders jersey on, so
I guess that could have been a much more natural way to do this, but either
well, I mean, yeah. If you did win, I would have run over to your house and dropped the jersey off, and then it would be less silly. But now we don't have to do that. We can move forward with the actual show here. So, first overall selection in this year's NHL Draft. I mean, I mean, to me, it's a difficult one, but I think I'm not going to waste time. It's going to be Matthew Schaefer. I mean, he gives you an excellent defensive foundation to work with. You've already got Noah Dobson there, so Schaefer's got a good environment in which to learn. Also, with the benefit of the NCAA potential, maybe he goes to college next year or the year after or something. You can afford to take your time. Super good, rangy defenseman with great offensive instincts. Yeah, you might say, oh, we've already got Noah Dobson, but I don't care. The more fun, the better. And the Islanders don't really have anything in the stable of much value anyway. As much as I love Michael Misa, I'm going to put Matthew Schaefer down here for the New York Islanders, and that's going to be it. I'm going to hand it over to Sam because I don't have much else to say. We can cover more later, but yeah, Schaefer at 1 here for the Islanders, I think.
And Michael Misa to the San Jose because
Why not?
Why not? This is kind of a 1-2 draft in my eyes. I also lean Schaefer for the first pick because but Misa is a stud center who does pretty much everything other than be big. But if you need a guy to actually drive the bus on your line, he is everything you're looking for and more. You've got a really talented group over in San Jose with a lot of good players in there, and adding Misa to go behind the likes of Celebrini is, oh my God, levels of fascinating. I know San Jose would probably benefit from Schaefer a little bit more in terms of the structure of the team and just like balancing out where the top end players are, but no fan is going to be upset at having a forward core that's developing as nicely as San Jose's is. And Michael Misa is the gem to just kind of tie it all together and bring the top 6 home with depth, with skill, with the ability to just adapt and play all over the ice and just elevate everyone around him, make the highlight reel plays, do the small details. It's Michael Misa, baby. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So we hand it over now. It's the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, this is James Hagen's. I think it just makes a ton of sense for what Chicago has in the hopper. To me, it gives them a lot more weapons to play with offensively and play around with the mix and see who works and who's functional and who works best together. The idea of James Hagen's potentially playing with a guy like Connor Bedard at some point, or Frank Nazar or Oliver Moore or whoever, insert whatever names you want. There's lots and lots of potential for really fun combinations there up front for Chicago. They've drafted so many times over the last few years that they have a little bit of pretty much everything. And at the end of the day, I get the feeling that Hagens gives you dynamic offensive skill that I think Chicago could use a little bit more of, especially considering they've drafted guys like Levshinov in the past. And I feel like Hagens is a guy who brings a lot of really, really fun offensive potential with a lot of skill. And I think the physical side of his game has come a long way this year. And I think that people will notice that very quickly. So for me, Hagens at 3, go Hawks go, I suppose. Get Connor Bedard more of a fun friend, I suppose, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, okay. And on that, I'm deciding between 2 players, but for me, it's Porter Martone for Utah. You cannot go wrong with drafting Porter Martone in the top 5 in this draft. You just can't. Flaws do exist in terms of the high-end pace of his game when he could just look like he's just maybe a half step behind the play sometimes. But beyond that, you're talking about a dynamic, great fluid skating, big guy with tons of skill who shows high end vision. He can score goals. He can play big, but he doesn't need to be big to be impactful. He kind of checks all the boxes. He's super versatile, can fit in just about any top 6. Utah and every other team in the league are going to want a guy like him on the roster somewhere in the lineup, and they're not necessarily easy to find. He has incredible potential, and even if he doesn't make it per se, he still has a good enough floor where you're not dissatisfied with the pick. Unless someone who goes right after just happens to be the best player in the draft. But other than that, like Porter Martone just kind of feels like the safest, easiest pick to make in that spot.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to go to Nashville. And this is tough. This is where things get really, really tough because Nashville has drafted a lot of wingers. And they don't have a whole lot of defensemen that are necessarily, I would say, likely to be super, super high end guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's nothing that jumps out at me. But I mean, the more I have seen of this guy, the more I just go, I don't care. I'm going to take him and I'm going to put him in the system. I'm going to build things around him. And especially considering who they've drafted recently, I'm doing it. I'm putting Victor Eklund down. I think Victor Eklund in Nashville, yes, he's another winger. I don't care. I know. I just don't care. I think that you are going to add a very, very, very good player to the system. You've already got a bunch of Swedes already there who are also quite talented. And I think that if I'm Nashville, I just want to go with energy, speed, high intensity players. And I think he brings a lot of that. And yeah, I think you sort out the other issues in other ways because, frankly, a guy like Eklund excites me a lot more than drafting a center here or drafting a winger here based on what's available. Based on what's available. Just go for the big guy. Again, this is what we would do if we were running these teams, not what we think they're actually going to do. But I love this guy. And yeah, with Nashville, I think he would be a ton of fun.
With the Flyers, I think another player who kind of fits their identity, maybe not one-to-one, but definitely fits in with what they're trying to go for, is the other Swede, Anton Frundell. It's hard to let him kind of slip past this point. Frundell is unbelievably talented. He, as we've discussed before in private, like there's not a single top six that he doesn't fit in with. It's similar to what I said with Porter Martone, but with Frondell, he's already playing pro hockey. You can see how well he fits alongside other professional players. He suits the environment. He matches the pace. He's got a great shot. He's got great skill and vision, but he's not someone who's trying to just get the puck on his stick and drive up ice and make the plays all over the place. He's just does the right thing at the right time, moves on, makes the next right play. Sometimes it's fancy, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a great goal. Sometimes it's just a little one-touch pass off the boards. But all things considered, Anton Frundell is a pretty safe projection, one of the safest projections in the draft. And I think he just kind of fits with every team right now. In Philadelphia, it's kind of a bit, we're starting to reach a quality drop, like a big tier drop. Philadelphia is kind of the last team to get one of these guys outside of a couple others who'd be admittedly a pretty big reach at this point.
Well, now we get to the Boston Bruins. Now, the Bruins are interesting because, number one, they haven't had a draft pick this high in a really long time, and I have no idea what their priorities are at this point. But I am going to go off of the fact that they went out and they brought in guys like Murad Husnudinov this year. They have gone out and played Fabian Lysell a little bit more. They have gone out and they've done a lot of interesting things to sort of shape themselves up for the future. But you know what? I'm going to sort of pick a guy that's a bit of a hybrid of everything and maybe a guy that I think the Bruins would also like. And I'm going to throw, oh, I don't know, actually. Oh, maybe not. No, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that because I don't think it's actually going to happen. And I don't know if I would do it. I'm stalling for time here. Oh boy.
I'm so curious who you're going to pick.
Because I know what I want to do, but I don't think it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense for the Bruins.
Gary Bettman needs an answer.
Yes, I know Gary Bettman needs an answer. I'm sorry, Gary.
Do it, Anakin.
I mean, okay. I did this in the first one we did with Tony, and everybody lost their mind. But I just can't get it out of my head that it could make sense at this point, especially with Frondell off the board. I can see the comments coming in now, but I'm putting Bill Zonin down. I think Bill Zonin in a Boston Bruins jersey would be.
They would love him.
They would be.
They'd love him.
Incredible. It would be the best. And you throw him out with, it gives you so much up the middle too now. Like Zonin is a really excellent competitor, a guy who I think fans would love. And when you've got guys like Fraser Minton already floating around, Murad Husnudinov floating around, you've got Fabian Lysell, like you have energy in that lineup. And Zonin you can play the long game again with the NCAA now. I just don't really care what anyone says. I am so confident that guy going to the Bruins and wearing a Bruins jersey would be so much fun. And I think the Bruins would love the guy. So it's a hot take. But I do not care. I genuinely really love the guy. He's still really high on my list. And I think in the modern NHL, with the way the game is headed, I think he's a very good example of a potentially very, very useful player especially in the playoffs. So hot take, but I don't care. We're going Zonin.
I get it. I think I'll back you up a little bit on this. It's not the pick that I would have done for the Bruins, and I can see why Bruins fans would be a little upset with it. But he fits the classic Bruin identity so much. I just think players, maybe he's a less familiar name, and fans are expecting one of the familiar names. They'd love him. They would love him.
Yes, I am so certain of that. I have seen him play so much this year. I'm certain. So I'm
I
leaving it
had
at
him.
that.
I had him going in a few picks to a different team, but I have somebody else going to Seattle at number 8, and that is Carter Bear.
Ah,
I don't
that was what
know.
I was thinking about.
Feel like this might be a little too soon for Bear, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 10 real life. He kind of strikes this gap that I feel like Seattle tries, or not gap, but this line that Seattle tries to straddle between skill guys and effort guys. Carter Bear brings the skill. He can really wow you for their entire periods where he can just kind of take over the game and look like the best player on the ice. He's putting in the heart and the effort. He's got two-way upside to his game. This is kind of that part of the draft where the raw upside isn't really there outside of a few names. So going for someone who kind of still has that, but brings in some projectability, brings in some of that tenacity, brings in some of that effort, brings in some of the good data, I imagine, based on how Seattle kind of evaluates their players. Feel like Carter Bear kind of fits the what the Kraken are going for there.
Interesting. All right. We're gonna pass it over to me again. It'll be Buffalo. Now, I will also mention that for the keen-eyed observer, we have not drafted more than one defenseman. So that just goes to show what we think of these guys. But for Buffalo at 9, not only do I think this guy is pretty underrated now, and I think people have kind of overcorrected with him. And not only that, but I also do think that he could be, especially because he's a righty. And you look at who plays on the right side for Buffalo right now and what's coming down the pipe. There's not a
I think
whole
I know
lot.
who this is.
I'm gonna throw Logan Hensler
I
down.
just moved him over
I
before
think
you even
I
said the
think
name.
I think Logan Hensler would make a very interesting Buffalo Sabre because he plays a very adaptable style of game. They've got guys like Dahlin and Power who I think are at their best leaning a little more offensively. Hensler is a little bit older. He, I think, has grown a lot in the style of play this year for the Wisconsin Badgers. I watched a game of him today, and he was very, very solid and just a really efficient player, really good passer. You know, there are little things you'd probably need to adjust, and I don't think he's the purely best player available. But considering how much the Buffalo Sabres have got in terms of forwards in the system, I really, really like the idea of Logan Hensler here. And I've grown over the year to really like Hensler over guys like Mertka, Aitchison, and the other defensemen at this point. So I'm gonna go with Hensler here, which might be a little bit early, but I think he makes a great Buffalo Sabre.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm going to take a different player, one that I think might arguably be slipping through this a little bit. And I do think Anaheim would take him, and that is Caleb Desnoyers.
Oh yeah, how is he not gone yet? Right? Yeah,
He has gone.
yeah,
Still a top 10 guy
that
in
makes
this
sense.
mock draft, and I think
Yep.
Anaheim would be taking Desnoyers. It's not that they necessarily need another center; they have some options in there, but if our projection, or at least my projection of Caleb Desnoyers, is not that of a top 6 center, but a really just a quality, stable third line center, someone who you can put out there. He's not going to cost you. He's not going to get you anything incredible, but he's a smart player. If he's playing with other players who are capable of being a bit more of a bus driver, I think Desnoyers is going to be able to fill in a lot of the gaps, find a lot of passing lanes, just kind of get the puck moving around in the offensive zone. He's not a overly flashy player. I think he had his struggles in the Memorial Cup, but all in all, he's a solid guy. He brings in the size that the teams, especially a team like Anaheim, is looking for. I can't see him falling too far past this, and I do think if he was there at 10, the Ducks would be pretty interested.
Yep. I would probably do a very similar thing, and I think he's a great fit for the Ducks. So good.
I think he's a good fit for the Ducks.
I mean, in reality, he'll probably be gone by then. But I think
so.
if he's there at 10, I think that's a reasonable place to put him. For Pittsburgh at 11, look, AJ, you and I have lived in Toronto for the entire Kyle Dubas / Wes Clark era, and he's bringing his talents to Pittsburgh. You know this kid, and you love him. We met him.
Does he love me as well?
He very well might. He might, because I'm putting Lyndon Lakovich down here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Look, I'll explain. Lakovich is a dork. He is a smart student, like studious type player who he's got length. There's a lot of development potential. He is skilled. He is really just such a smart and laid back person who I think has the combination of things that I think they look for in a player. You know, once Braden Yeager left, he became the captain of the team, and I think I would probably have made the same decision after having met him. And I think that at this range, like, again, it's a lot of wingers, but I do think that there's a lot you can work on with Lakovich that would make him quite a good player. And I think that he checks a lot of the boxes. I think that the Dubas / Clark connection are often looking for.
Yeah, I totally get that. No, I do. I agree with that. I was going to take him in a couple picks, so we took that option away. So who do the New York Rangers take? Well, it's funny because I have 5 players in a row, and I think all of them are an option. I don't really know which one really stands out, but I think I'm going to go with Radim Murka
to the
Rangers. This is a big, tall, gangly, lanky defender. He's not that lanky, but he's a big guy. He's a big dude.
6'6", 216. That's a bit.
He's got some
humongous big.
Well, he's got some oomph to him. He's got a lot of reach, which is extremely valuable in the league. He's shown, although it's inconsistent, he has shown he's got some good quick touches with the puck and can kind of get the puck out of the zone. He still needs to kind of handle pressure a little bit more. I think that's going to be a bit of a hurdle once he hits the league. But a guy that size, teams are going to give him a mountain of development runway. They're going to give him ample opportunity. A team like the Rangers is never going to say no to a guy like him joining the defensive core. I think it's tricky to pass on him. My other option was Roger McQueen, but one of these guys doesn't have injury history, and that's Radim Murka. So I kind of am landing on him for that reason.
Okay. All right. So what do we have now? It's the Detroit Red Wings. All right. So for Detroit, I mean, there's a couple of options here that I would really like to see in a Red Wings jersey. And I can hear in my head, there's a lot of people, you just mentioned him, screaming that Roger McQueen should be gone by now. It did come out today that he is going to do all of the physical testing at the combine, which I think is a bit of a surprise, but good for him. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But anyway, I think that it's about time that the Detroit Red Wings come out and surprise everybody with, which they've done in the draft before, but in this case, I think it's about time the Detroit Red Wings dip into Europe and surprise people with their pick and bet on the future. And I'm going to go with Eric Nilsson. I think that if I'm the Detroit Red Wings, Eric Nilsson checks so many boxes. The only thing about him is he is pretty physically underdeveloped, but if you can get him to put some weight on, I think the expectation is that he's going to grow a little bit more from here. He is, I think, exactly what the Red Wings could use more of. Skill, but smart, really, really smart center who also plays physical, right? You might look at him and go, well, he's 100 and whatever pounds. I would not underestimate his physical play and the skill level and everything in conjunction. I am betting on what he's going to be in 3 or 4 years once he gets some more time over in Sweden, or if he comes and plays college hockey. I don't know. Either way, that's a guy that I think that is only going to get better and better and better from here. And I think the Detroit Red Wings, with their sort of fingers in the pie in over in Sweden here and there, they've been not afraid to go off the board a little bit. And looking at who's available right now, Nilsson is an interesting one. But there's a lot of good options, I think, still on the board. So I'll throw it over to you for Columbus and see what happens.
Well, again, we've got people screaming about Roger McQueen. And this is normally the moment where I think just about any team in the league is going to grab him if he continues to slip past this point, unless they have intel that's extremely concerning. However, this is the only team that I will use this logic for, but they just used the 4th overall pick on a WHLer with some lower back injury history concerns. And I don't think they're going to double dip on that under any circumstances. I think that they'll just I just can't see it happening. I can see them, however, taking Jackson Smith.
Oh, okay.
I think that Columbus is at a moment where they have a good defensive core. They got good defensive prospects, but there's no clear best player available at this point. Jackson Smith does have a lot of upside compared to other players at this point in the draft. From what we understand at this point in time, the NHL still has Smith quite high in where they plan on taking him. I wouldn't be surprised if Smith was already gone before this point in the real draft. However, Smith plays yeehaw cowboy hockey. A lot of teams do get scared off by these types of guys and don't want to take them this early in the draft. I think Columbus, seeing as they have drafted someone in the likes of Andrew Strothman, they've drafted the Denton Matejchuks before, they're not scared of drafting this type of defenseman in general. I think it kind of fits there, mostly due to a best player available kind of thing, and the fact that there's just aren't too many wingers right now that scream out like, please take me, take me, take me. And they have quite a few centers.
Right. All right. I know that I'm going to regret this, not because of the player, but because of what I will be saying no to and what is coming in the immediate future and what I feel like Sam McGilligan is going to do with the pick that comes after this. But with the Vancouver Canucks pick here at 15, I think I'm going to go with someone that I genuinely think not only could work really well for Vancouver, but probably is a player that I think they kind of like a lot. And especially knowing Vancouver, I think they're not afraid to draft from overseas. But I also think a lot of that is because they know they don't have their rights, or they get their rights longer as opposed to drafting a CHLer, which to me means that they're probably now in this new world going to be a lot more interested in drafting CHL players. And so I'm going to dip my toe into the OHL. This guy, I feel like should be gone by now. There's a couple of OHLers that I think should be gone by now, I guess, but I'll go Jake O'Brien. I think Jake O'Brien plays just a really well-rounded, smart playmaker's game. You know, he's very efficient. He's a guy who I think brings a lot of potential, a lot of projectable NHL traits. I think he's a guy who, similar to Nilsson, will only get better the stronger he gets. And I don't know if he projects extremely well without gaining some weight and some strength, but as he is right now, I mean, I still think there's a very, very, very interesting long-term sort of case study here that I think could work really well for Vancouver at 15. So I'm holding on to my butt here because I feel like Sam McGilligan's going to swoop in here and do something here. Yeah,
I want to,
and I'll see what happens. But Sam, 16th is Montreal, so you're Montreal Canadiens court. What's it going to be?
You know what? I know who I would pick, but I'm going to try and stay a little bit realistic here. I do believe the Montreal Canadiens would have a lot of interest in my specific player, but if a guy like this is on the board, I don't think they take my type of guy, because I think they'd take Brady Martin.
I mean, I would be very okay with that if I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan, honestly.
Do you get like they're going through what most teams first young core playoff runs going through, and they're kind of thinking, wow, we looked good, we were pacey, we were quick, we were skilled. They were meaner though. When you look at this draft class and you're looking for meanness, who are you looking at more than Brady Martin?
Well, Keyshawn Aitchison probably.
But I don't know, man. I think
Brady Martin, I personally, if I'm a Habs fan and this is what happens, this would be fine by me, I think. I don't know. I think Martin could be perfectly fine. Like, you're a Habs guy, so would you be pleasantly surprised or happy about it? Like, if this
I wouldn't be devastated about it because I know specifically what he's bringing to the table. I would be upset about a specific player not being taken, who I will then reveal once one of us had picked him for somebody else. But you know what? I'm sure after I watch Brady Martin crush the soul out of a few NHLers in the playoffs, I'd feel better about it. He would most certainly do that.
He could do that. So I have to stall for time for a couple of minutes because we have something that's currently being exported. But I guess just to recap who is left on the board. Actually, I only have what's in front of me, but like some key names that are left on the board. We've got Ben Kindle, we got Roger McQueen, Blake Fiddler, Justin Carbonneau. What else do we have here?
Keyshawn Aitchison, Braden Coots, Malcolm Spence, Cole Reshny, although he won't be going there. Colin Potter, Jack Nesbitt, Blake Fiddler, Sasha Boumedienne, Milton Gastrin, good old Ivan Ryabkin.
Yep.
Jack Murtaugh, he would probably be going kind of soonish, I imagine. Henry Brushevitz, Yves Wozniak.
Okay. So
there's some names still. We
got
some
good
stuff
ones
to work with.
This, I mean, while we wait, like just to pause, Sam, I think that what this illustrates is a couple of things. Number one, there are definitely players that personally I like a lot more than the rest of the world does.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes. But two, just how open this draft class is. Like I'm sitting here going, like, even if I'm not the one sort of picking off the board and going for who I genuinely think would be a nice off the board idea, even though like in the actual NHL draft, like off the board stuff happens all of the time. It happens all of the time. So like
literally every
year. What I'm saying is shut up. But I mean, look, like I think that this year, like there's a lot where we could be sitting. If you're a team that like just missed the playoffs or barely made it and got eliminated, like you could be sitting there going like, oh, like we might have our pick of this guy or whatever. And it might be a bit of a surprise considering who might even if this went like according to consensus, I feel like around this range, there's still going to be some interesting options that teams could pick at.
Oh yeah, man. Like I've got a short list right now of 11 dudes. That's going to take us all the way to 27. And when I look below it, I'm like, man, so many of these names could be first round picks. It is so open. I think, and I understand why fans feel this way. Because we kind of are like first round picks are first round picks. I know that's like, it sounds dumb, but like you're used to usually the same 40 names being discussed in those 32 slots there. And then it's like, there's a quality gap afterwards, when the reality is this year, there's like 7 or 8 guys who do a lot of stuff really, really, really well. And you're like, damn. And then there's, depends on who you ask, but I'm sure there's some people, maybe myself kind of included, who'd say the gap between like 9 and 39 exists, but it's not
a mess.
It's not nearly as large as you think. And when you add in, like, this is just the opinions of ourselves, but when you're talking to NHL organizations, head of scouting, who's been speaking with his scouts, who understands how his team's going to develop the player, who they'll be working with, what that team is looking for, what the general manager is looking for, what, like, all these different factors and variables. The lists, if we got to see all 32 teams' lists, they would look wild.
It'd be fun.
It would be so cool.
If I could get my hands on one from like 5 or 10 years ago, That would be so much fun to share. That'd be great. So if there's any NHL people walking around with a draft list from 2004 or 2005 and want to
just chilling in your pocket, just
chill
send
in
it
your
over.
pocket and send it over anonymously, and don't say which team it is, then by all means email me and we'll have some fun on the show. But anyway, so before we get to the second half of the first round, we are going to roll a little recap of what has happened so far in this year's draft. So producer AJ, roll the graphic and let me know when it's over. Well, there we have it. So here we are at the back half of the first round. So at 17, Sam, you touched on it. I'm doing it. It's the Montreal Canadiens again. You got this pick for Sean Monahan, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think this is our pick, and Sean Monahan.
Oh, Sean Monahan was 16.
Martin.
So the point is, you traded away Sean Monahan. You got an extra first round pick, and you can have a little fun with this one. I think you can go a little bit riskier on this one, and I think this is where I'd go with Roger McQueen. I think it is. Damn. Look, if I'm the Montreal Canadiens, yeah, you've drafted, look, number one, I don't know if they'll keep both of these picks. I feel like at some point you're going to consider trading one.
You have to for Marco Rossi.
Right. You got to think about it at least. And so my thought here is you can afford to take some risks because you've drafted so much in the last 5 years that you kind of have to hope and think that you've got everything you kind of need to have a pretty good foundation. And you've been gifted a middle of the first round draft pick, and you can do with it what you please. And at this point, like if Roger McQueen had been fully healthy all season long and not gotten injured again in the playoffs and missed the last little bit of the playoffs, then I feel like McQueen would be gone much higher than this, and I would be totally fine with that. And I think around this is the range in the draft where it depends on what happens in the combine and all that stuff, but it makes a ton of sense to take a swing on him here. And this is where I would really think about it. And if I'm Montreal and it's Brady Martin and Roger McQueen coming off the board here in the middle of the first round, you're going to get two really, really handy forwards that complement some of the skill and offense that you've drafted over the years. So that I'd be pretty happy with.
You know what? I can't complain. You can do it's not the guy I had hoped for, but it's still a great haul. And the guy I was hoping for is also not going here at 18 because I think the Calgary Flames. This is Kashan Aitchison time.
Ah, okay.
He's got to go in the draft at some point. He's almost definitely a first round pick. I think as closer and closer you get to those 20s, is especially for a team that's already. Have they already drafted? Oh no, they didn't. We didn't take a pick. Interesting. Okay, so this would be their first pick of the draft. But I think Kashan Aitchison, like you said, contender with Brady Martin for the biggest, meanest curse word that I can't say that starts with a B and ends with Astard. He's just
one's fine. That one you could
which
say.
One could you possibly be talking about?
He is just a menace at times out there, man. Like he throws some bone crushing hits. He definitely is going to be one of those guys that when someone's playing against him on the ice, yeah, they could definitely feel that intimidation presence. I think he can offer a little bit of skill in the offensive zone. He can score goals. We know he can pinch up. He does have some warts in his game that we've discussed in the past, but all in all, I think a team is going to love what he brings to the table. Some teams anyways. I think Calgary, I think they're going to be the ones to do it.
Interesting. If I'm Calgary, I mean, I saw the comment about the Flames not taking a D with their pick. I don't know why they wouldn't. They've got Zane Parekh, Henry Muse, Bruchevitz, Morin, and like Jeremy Poirier. I don't think there's any guarantees there of like someone like an Aitchison. I mean, personally, I might not go Aitchison here if I'm Calgary, but I don't know why they wouldn't think about drafting a defenseman. But anyway, we're not here to do that. It's the St. Louis Blues' turn. And I'm gonna go with looking at what the St. Louis Blues have done this season that has found themselves in a more successful spot than I expected them to be. And I am going to just keep on going on the ride here. Let me just double check that I am thinking about the same group of players in their system here. Yeah, I mean, okay. So you just took Aitchison. I don't. Yeah, sorry, JJ. You don't draft on need, my friend. You don't draft because you need centers. I'm not. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. I think I'm gonna go. Oh boy. You know what? St. Louis.
Do it, Will. You know what you want to do. Do it. Do it. Send Colin Potter there. I know it's what you want to do.
That is where I think I would think about it. If I'm St. Louis, I could see him being a very good St. Louis Blue. You know what? Let's do it. Colin Potter to St. Louis at 19.
Dang.
I think I know they have a lot of forwards. They've got not a whole lot in the way of real like defense prospects. They have like Lindstein and whatever, but I think Colin Potter brings you something that you always could use more of. And you look at a guy like a Jordan Kyrou in St. Louis, and I think you see, you go to a guy like Colin Potter and you go, here's Jordan Kyrou, hang out with him for a while and learn how to become a good NHL player, because it took Kyrou a while. It might take Potter a while, but he could be a devastatingly good NHL player. And I think at 19, it's worth taking the chance on him. Even though he's a little small, I don't care. I am very, very confident that at this range, he would be a pretty darn good pick if this is how it goes down on draft day.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the grand reveal for the guy I wanted to take with Montreal super badly. Just didn't work out. But sorry, Columbus fans. I was just about to take Colin Potter for you as well. That's a dang shame.
It's fine. So they have Brindley and Fantilli.
They have enough fun. They've had enough fun for a long time.
They do. And that's why I'm going to still give them a dependable energy bottom to middle six guy. Let's say middle six guy who does have some skill, who does have some upside, who does play with some pace, and that is Braden Coots. I think Braden Coots kind of just goes into that lineup, adds a bit more of that depth that they're looking for, brings up the skill level or the skill floor of the team a bit. He's kind of a bit of I kind of see him personally as a jack of all trades, master of none, but one that still kind of can make it to the NHL level. He's a bit pacey. He's a bit fluid with his feet. You've seen him put together some pretty impressive plays over the years. I think like many of the other WHLers, or we can extend this to CHLers as a whole, he lacks consistency that we would like to see usually from a middle first round type of guy, but he still has a lot going for him. And I think, especially since Columbus already drafted a defenseman in the likes of Jackson Smith, and a team just stole Colin Potter from them, that Braden Coots is kind of the next guy up. It was between that and Malcolm Spence, and I think Coots is the better option of the two and the one that kind of fits more with what Columbus would be looking for.
Interesting. I get to pick for the Ottawa Senators.
I'm sure they're thrilled about that.
Yes.
All their fans.
No. I'm stopping this right now. Because I genuinely do believe that the name I am about to say in an Ottawa Senators uniform would be effing sick. Like, you want a sicko. You want, and I look, I'm cool with drafting sickos, but they've got to be good at hockey. And I think a guy who wearing an Ottawa Senators jersey would be just a nightmare. And it might be a little high for this guy, but they are, again, not a team afraid to go off the board with what they feel makes sense. I'm throwing Shane Van Saggy down to the Ottawa Senators at 21.
You stole my pick again.
Shane Van Saggy in an Ottawa Senators jersey would be the most annoying thing in the universe.
Oh, it would be disgusting.
Oh my God, because, I mean, what can I say? He's big. He checks all the boxes Ottawa wants, right? Like Ottawa has one of the biggest prospect pyramids out there, pipelines, I should say. They've got guys who love to throw hits up and down the lineup. They are big, physical guys who also can often, in a lot of cases, really move up and down the ice really well. And Van Sagi is another one of those. And at Michigan State, you can leave him there for a while. He's going to learn from the best. That team is going to be an absolute wagon next year. And he's going to have some fun. And I think that him putting on a Senators jersey, it will not take very long for Senators fans to go, "Oh, okay, this guy is part of the team now. This is legit." So, Van Sagi, and you just go with that and let him throw bombs all year long. There you go.
I have the exact same speech prepped for Van Sagi. Just swap Ottawa out with Philly, and I think everything still fits. He's such a flyer. So I will pick another player who I think, because the Flyers, especially because they already secured a guy like Anton Frundell early in the draft, I think the Flyers might actually be okay taking the likes of Justin Carbonneau.
Oh, Carbonneau. Okay.
Carbonneau. This
Carbonneau.
guy, when he is at his absolute best, is a freak of nature who looks like a slam dunk top 10 guy. His highlight reels are disgusting.
They are.
There are a lot of moments where I'm watching him and I am like, do something, and I want to poke him with the stick. But when he does get going, it is a tremendous thing to see, especially in a draft that's, we've admitted that we believe is lacking high-end talent, and especially at the late first, like there are very few names left that fit that high-end talent kind of bill. Carbonneau undoubtedly has the skill. It's kind of vaguely reminiscent of the likes of Beckett Seneca, who went third overall last year. I don't think it's the same thing, but Seneca has a tremendous amount of skill that he can just burst out at any moment, and it makes him seem like he's 30 times better than everyone on the ice. Carbonneau brings that same type of vibe. It's less consistent. I think you got to work with him to bring the consistency up for that obvious reason. You've got an energy level that when working, he seems like he can be quite the mean guy at times. I think Philly could definitely just kind of stand to bolster any part of their prospect pool with more high end talent. And I don't really see Carbonneau slipping too much further past this. So, yeah, he's a flyer.
Interesting. All right. Well, the Nashville Predators are at 23 and taking Eklund all the way up at 4. And knowing that they have a ton of wingers already in the system. Not saying that you draft on position, but I do think this guy is probably the guy that also I think would also make a really, 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 really good Predator, and that's Blake Fiddler.
You keep taking them.
Yeah, too bad. Yeah, Blake Fiddler at 23 to Nashville here. I mean, I really like Blake Fiddler. I don't think his like upside is necessarily like incredibly high, but he's a big, rangy right-hand shot guy who, you know, needs some defensive refinement, but he's a really good skater. He gets more scoring chances than I expect. Anytime I see him, I go, "Oh, that guy found his way to the net somehow and somehow managed to get a scoring chance. Oh, that guy just went end to end twice in that game, and that was pretty fun." And I think Nashville loves these sort of rangy, skatey boys, whether they're big or small, it doesn't matter. And they just love developing their defensemen. So for me, I'm going to put Blake Fiddler down here. And look, if I have 4 and 23 and I come away with Eklund and Fiddler, I'm feeling pretty good if I'm Nashville. And I'm not even done for the day, even though Sam gets to pick the next one for Nashville. But yeah, Fiddler at 23, and the Kings are up next. So Sam, take it away.
So the Kings were about to take Blake Fiddler. Getting sick of saying this. So instead, they're going to be taking Carter Amico for a lot of the similar reasons, in the sense of Amico is a big, beefy boy. How big is Amico specifically?
I think he's 6'5", something like that.
Yeah, we're talking beef.
I'm surprised because you went there. I'm not surprised because I wouldn't do it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Kings, I think a lot of the league is going to be susceptible, and I'm not saying it from a bad perspective of like they're gonna be looking for size for the same reasons. Like if there's not a lot of high end talent grabbing at somebody's name, they're gonna be looking for other ways for fine players who can fill in gaps in the lineup. Emiko is a beefy dude who doesn't play high risk hockey. You could project him pretty easily to the league. He's solid in his own zone. He doesn't cost you anywhere else to be solid in his own zone. There's a bit of developmental room with him. You could probably bring the skill up a bit and see if there's something more there. But all things considered, he's big, he's rangy, he moves okay, he can throw his weight around. He's 6'5". That's kind of an NHL defenseman by default. Like, right? He's kind of just gonna play almost no matter what. I think the Kings are just gonna kind of grab him, plug him, see where it goes from there.
Okay. I mean, I spect it. All right. Let's go to, oh boy, the Chicago Blackhawks at 25. Now, interesting. I mean, there are some guys that I really, really like that are still available, but I don't think, if I'm Chicago, I don't think those are guys that scratch the right itch. I am going to go, you know what? Let's well, hang on. Yeah, let's do it. Let's throw Malcolm Spence down at 25 to Chicago here. Not that complicated. He's just a physical guy who has some skill to him. He's a good puck protector. Just a nice blank slate of a guy who I think probably is a third line winger who competes and, puts in the effort. And as long as he can sort of get the foot speed up a little bit more, especially defending, I think Spence could become a really interesting player. And I mean, the Blackhawks have a lot of everything, so they can kind of afford to be a little creative. And Spence at 25 is not necessarily creative, but it is a decent option. And considering they've already got James Hagen's off the board, I think Spence is a decent option as well. So Sam, did I break your heart for the fourth time in a row here? I'll take that as a yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Just keep making it more difficult for me, Billy. Make me have to do these. I've already plug and played all of them, and you just keep making me move everybody up one slot.
Yes.
So
boo-hoo, so hard.
Yeah, boo-hoo.
I'm sitting here having to input all the names of the players you guys actually pick, and you're here complaining that, I have to move my guy up one slot.
No, I'm complaining that I have
to copy paste names. Oh my goodness!
I have to find out how to spell them.
You have access to all my data, man. You can just copy paste them. Whatever. I'm not gonna. Whatever. Continue.
Try spelling this one, AJ. Sasha Boumedienne.
Hey, Nashville gets another skaty boy.
And I think it makes sense, especially because Nashville have already kind of locked in another high-end winger. Going with the forwards doesn't make sense. There's not a center in there that really, there's not a center in there that really moves me enough to make me think that they would sacrifice bolstering the defensive pool, which could definitely use a couple guys added to it. Let's be honest. They have some names, but you could always have more. Blake Fiddler brings them stability. Boumedienne brings them a bit more upside. Boumedienne has flaws. He probably wasn't ready for the NCAA, and by probably I mean he kind of wasn't when you see him play. But you can also see little flashes and understand why he was there this year. He is fluid. He can move well. He can play with the puck. He can pinch up. He can handle pressure at times. But it does seem like he's got a bit of a low panic threshold. So when pressure comes in a bit quicker than he's used to, he kind of makes a quick play. Some of these plays don't really work out as well. He's yet to really find his groove in the sense that he's making shift to shift impact and using his tools wisely. It's all flashes, but you can see what's there. He's got more in the toolkit to work with than most of the players left in the draft, if not almost all of them, maybe I would say. I'm sure there's a few I'd challenge that on if I look through it more comprehensively. I think you could pick a different defenseman. You could pick a Charlie Trethewey. You could pick Cameron Reed if you were going for a different type of upside, but I don't know if that's the type of direction that they would want to go with, because Boumedienne does bring a bit more oomph to the table, which teams often use to justify these riskier picks. I think it just kind of fits going Fiddler one way, Boumediene the other. And yeah, I'm sticking with that one.
Okay. I probably would go a similar direction, but if I'm Washington, this one has been screaming at me since the names have ticked off over and over and over here.
Please don't take him.
I'm putting Ben Kindle down.
Oh,
for the
thank God I finally have somebody.
Ben Kindle is exactly what the Washington Capitals have drafted over the last few years out of the WHL and out of the CHL. Just, I think, more smarter good. I think Kindle is a brilliant forward who could play center one day. He can play on the wing, but I would really like to see him at center. One of the smartest passers in the draft, one of the most clever adapters to play in front of him that's out there. Just a machine on the score sheet, a machine under the hood in terms of his analytics and everything. Just a really great player. His scouting report is coming out tomorrow, so you can see why then. But yeah, Ben Kindle, Washington Capitals, 27. Smart player. I feel like he's exactly what they like in a player based on what I've seen them draft over the years. And yeah, I mean, I don't think a team like Washington is afraid of guys who may lack a little bit of pace or a little bit of physical energy. And I think that there's potential for a lot of growth in those areas anyway with him. So yeah, if I'm Washington, that's an easy choice for me at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. So this one's a bit tough, but I am kind of for the Winnipeg Jets. God, I want to say Cole Reshny so bad. I'm not going to, but I just want to say it.
So do it.
No, I'm going to say a player who I kind of wasn't really expecting to say, but I'm going to go with Cole McKinney. Kind of not sure where he's going to go in the draft. Maybe this is a bit too soon. Maybe it's a bit late. Who knows? But McKinney is kind of that play connecting, all supportive, just a fine detail player on the NTDP. There's always that one NTDP guy every year who's like the glue guy. And teams tend to really like them. I think McKinney kind of just can fit into a bottom six, play alongside their high pace system that they already have. Just kind of add something that's not just size to that team. Add a dimension that's a little deeper and can kind of fit with a bit more skilled players and create a more high octane bottom six line. I think McKinney can be the type of guy who kind of fits that bill.
Fair enough. Yeah, I could see that very clearly. They also have a lot already in the hopper, considering how well they've drafted over the last little while, right? Like,
yeah.
Anyway. So Carolina, oh boy.
Just do what you would do. That'll probably be what they do.
That's what I'm doing for San Jose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I'm Carolina, I think I'm going to go with Cole Reshny. Reshny at 29. I think that Carolina loves guys who pop really high-end talent and also think the game really well. Like, I think Reshny competes, he's aggressive, he's creative. His playoff run was excellent. His under 18 was really good. I think he's a boom or bust guy at this range. I think he's got a lot of potential to maybe not hit a ceiling, but at this point in the draft, I mean, there was a few good options here that I think that Carolina might land. And Reshny is a long-term project, but I think in Carolina they have so much in the pool that long-term, I think that you can bet on him to work his way up the lineup. And I think Reshny to Carolina just seems to check a lot of the boxes they look for. And then they can draft all the weird random dudes that I like, 2, 3, 4 rounds from now. And we're not going to do that tonight, but at the end of the month, maybe we'll see where they go.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. Cole Reshny, Carolina. We're going to keep up the C momentum. And I'm going to say San Jose get a defenseman, Cameron Reed.
All right.
I think getting Cameron Reed at the 30th pick is that's a pretty solid thing. I think he's better than some of the defensemen who have already gone ahead of him. He's a smooth skating guy, has some good transitional play in his game. He's got good defensive zone play for the most part. You can catch him be a little disengaged here there at times. Maybe he doesn't finish the offense that you're hoping for in some moments, but all things considered, he's one of the better CHL defenders in this draft. He's one of the best defensemen still left on the board if you're looking for somebody who can play with some upside and play with the puck. And I think San Jose really are going to be looking for a defenseman with this second pick if they don't get Matthew Schaefer at number 2. So, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Honorable mention to Charlie Trethewey, but I just don't think that he kind of brings what San Jose might be looking for. I think Cameron Reed fits that bill a little bit more just because he's got more game with the puck.
We did get a comment that San Jose doesn't need left-hand shot defensemen. My friend Sam Dickinson isn't going to save your team and be the only left defenseman you need. And they have very little else on the way of like, I don't know. I'm happy to bet on a Cameron Reed at this point. Like, that what right shot? If you had to draft a right-hand shot defenseman at this point in the draft, who are you taking? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like ideally, you're right. You would want to take a right shot defenseman, but that's the reason it's a commodity is because they're harder to find.
Well, and there literally are not any, right? Like, yeah, I'd love to hear. Like San Jose's got to go defenseman here. Oh no, they can't get a left-hand shot. Okay, tell me who, right? Like, I don't know, because I don't know who I would take Cameron Reed over, like, I don't know, my best defenseman available right now are Kurban Limatov, who's a lefty. I mean, I like Sean Barnhill, but I'd be stunned if someone took him in the first round. And I think, yeah, he's a righty. Other than that, like, I don't know, but I didn't say Dickinson's not a stud there, mister. I didn't say that. I said you need more than him. He's not going to be on the ice 60 minutes tonight.
We'll hate
Sam
Dickinson,
no, never mind. Yeah, you know what? I hate the San Jose Sharks, and everything they ever do is wrong. And everybody Sam said that they were going to draft is terrible.
Timothy Liljegren's awesome.
Henry Thrun will play 70 minutes a night and save you and bring you to the promised land.
You're forgetting about Shakir Mukhamadullin.
Apparently, I'm also forgetting about Henry Bruchevitz, and I'm not touching that guy in the first round. I will take Cameron Reed every day over Bruchevitz, literally every single day. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm fine. This is what I signed up for, right? This is what I signed up for.
You didn't even make that pick. That's the best part.
No, I didn't. But I just find it very funny that folks who, you know, we spend months watching these guys, and it's like, oh, what about this guy? Like, we need this, and then they don't think about what that actually means. Like, oh, okay, well, never mind. Anyway, Calgary Flames. I mean,
keep in mind they took Aitchison.
Yes, Calgary took Aitchison.
They need a center, Will. They need a center.
Yeah, sorry, right. Calgary needs a center. So who are we looking at that plays center here? Not much. There are not very many. No, I mean, I'm kidding around.
We are just happy that you are here and watching the content, even if we are busting your balls a little bit. All right,
clowning around.
Yeah,
clowning around. Yeah. Also, like, the thing is too, like, prospects are all bad in terms of the NHL, so there's no guarantees that they're gonna like just because you have 3 left-hand defensemen in your system, like, it doesn't.
The most likely outcome is all 3 just don't play.
Yeah, like someone listed Luca Cagnoni. Like, I love Luca Cagnoni, and I hope he has an NHL career, but like, he's a tough one to project to the NHL. I feel like he might have that. I love him. I want him to work, but I'm not putting my eggs in that basket just because he had a great season this year. I don't know. But anyway, Calgary. I mean, Calgary loves to draft fun, it seems. Like, last year, they drafted a lot of fun offensive guys. Basha, Misa, Pabrek. They love fun. Gradine. So who do they go with here?
Say it.
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's going to be who I think it is. No. No. Let me think. I didn't think about this in advance. I did, but I didn't.
Yelling at everybody.
Yeah, I was too busy yelling because I was crashing out.
Millennial crashing out at chat.
Yeah, a millennial crashing out at chat. Think they're so smart. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna bet on the upside here for Calgary because again, they have a lot of draft picks, and I think they can afford it here. And I really liked how this guy played at the under 18s. And newsflash, fans of the Calgary Flames, he's a center, or at least played center a lot this year. I'm gonna take Will Moore. Will Moore at 31 to Calgary. I have grown to like this guy quite a bit. Really, really nice blank slate player. I do really think there's something nice with Moore. It's just you wanted to see Moore out of him, I think, but boy, when he crosses someone up with the puck and drives to the outside and attacks the offensive zone and like he's got some size to him. I think that it's one of these things where I think there's a lot of potential. It's just you have to coach it out of him over time. And I think you send him to, I think he's going to the OHL next season, maybe, but either way, college or the OHL or whatever, give him time. And I think that if Will Moore, you can take a bit of a chance here because there's a lot of wingers that are pretty good. But I don't know if I'm the Calgary Flames, I think Will Moore is an interesting option here, even if he might not be like priority one. I think he might check some of the boxes they're looking for.
That leaves, last but not least, my third pick for the Philadelphia Flyers fans. I'm sorry if you hate me, and if you love what I've done, then you're welcome. But at this point,
do it.
Because they have 3 first-round picks.
Do it.
What do you think of this?
I know what you're doing.
Schmidt, right? Maybe.
No. I think I know what Sam's doing. He's gonna. Everybody in the chat is gonna lose their mind if he does what I think he's gonna do here.
You know what? I am gonna do it, and I wasn't even going to. But I genuinely think this would be the better decision.
Oh,
and
God.
Who am I to?
I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna let you just say it.
Nah. Joshua Ravensbergen.
Oh, what?
Psyched you out.
Bro, they're gonna get Carter Hart back soon. It'll be fine.
I don't believe they are getting him back.
Ivan Fedotov is the man. He's the solution.
Maybe
fresh
he
off
is,
of his
but
tour of duty in the Arctic Circle.
That's
anyway.
a deep pull. Look, I'm be honest, the main basis for this, I'll give 2 just because I'm not a goalie expert, and my main basis for this is that they have 3 first-round picks. They could use a goalie, but I can't sit there and tell you the details as to why he's worth one. I know that he is a first-round caliber goalie, and I kind of popped him in the spot because of that. If you want a real skater, it's Michael Sverchek.
Damn it. That's what I was hoping you would say. Just so I could see the people in the chat go, are you high on drugs? And we would say yes, because we're always high on drugs.
Is absolutely cracked, Philly fans.
Yes.
To all fans, to fans of everybody, he is absolutely cracked beyond measure. He is one of the fastest paced players in the entire class. Like, I'm talking from the top 10 all the way to last pick of the 7th round. He is extremely quick, extremely aggressive towards players with the puck. His puck pursuit game is relentless as he forces chaos all over the place and can skillfully manage it and distribute out of it. And he has lots of flashes, not just flashes, he has actual moments of genuinely high-end playmaking where you just want to see him slow down a little bit to fully maximize it rather than go at the relentless speed that he does and almost overskate opportunities. This is the guy who is almost definitely not going to go here. I'd be absolutely floored if he is even a top 64 pick, if I'm being completely honest. But he is so good, and I think he is a fair bit better than quite a number of the names that we have said tonight.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, we're just not putting him there because we know that the league doesn't view him the same way, or at least I'm not putting him there because I didn't think the league viewed him the same way. And that's why I ultimately went with Ravensburg. But my heart of hearts, if I have 3 first-round picks, and let's assume I have no other picks or something like that, because let's just assume draft ends at 32.
Right.
Sverchek is just a name I couldn't possibly let go.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ravensburgen is just the goalie that everybody wants. He's going in the first round. I'm not going to pretend like I have a crystal ball about what his future is going to be, but um I mean, like, yeah. I mean, the other thing too is like Svirchek played his best hockey at the highest level he could this year. Like, I thought he was pretty good at the U18s. I thought he was solid at the U20s, but in the SHL, that's when you watched him, at least for me, and I went, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I either gotta put down the weed, or what was it that Stephen A. Smith said? Stay off the weed. I either gotta stay off the weed or this guy's really, really good. And I don't partake anymore. So I think the kid's pretty good.
He's incredible.
He's really, really good. Lots and lots of potential. And look, I mean, I always am thinking about when we watch the NHL, when we watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, we're going, who is winning these games, right? Who's winning, right? Is it the team with all the flash and the razzle dazzle and the skill and who hits the most? Not really. There's a lot more to it than that, and I think a guy like Svirchek brings a lot of it. But unfortunately, the fans don't get what I want. But I mean, Ravensburgen seems perfectly fine. He seems like a good goaltender. So
He's
I
like
can't
he's
really,
the
yeah, you
if I
know.
have to pick a guy, I'm gonna pick him because I think that he fits with. I saw a comment that says if it kind of fits with what the Philly regime is looking for. Um, I'm gonna kind of be honest, I didn't really know that. I just kind of felt like I was looking at him for a lot of these last picks, and Philly was the team that felt the most right. I can't really explain why, more so just a gut feeling kind of thing. I knew I wasn't realistically going to take Michael Sverchek in this mock draft at any point,
Yes.
but we love him. We think he's worth the first round pick in the sense of I wouldn't take him there because if I can get him later in the draft, someone else mentioned that
Well,
Philly
yeah,
has 4 second
Florida,
round picks.
Philadelphia, they've got like a
Realistically,
billion picks. Yeah.
yeah, they're not taking him there. They're not taking him there.
No.
They could very well just extract this value later in the draft. Mostly I only really said it because you said shout him out. But Ravensburgen is a guy who I think is gonna. I'd be shocked to see him there on day 2. And if
No,
Philly
me
is
too.
kind of one of the better teams that kind of fits that or has a better fit for him. And when you're already taking 2 skaters and you're justifying a goalie with the 3rd pick, it's a lot easier if that 3rd pick is still a first round pick and that goalie's supposedly the best one in the draft, right?
Right.
And you need more goalie prospects.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
never such a thing as having too many.
I guess it just touches on something here with like the interaction between us and viewers. It's like we don't know enough about what a goaltender in the draft should be valued as to know like, oh yeah, Ravensburgen is definitely going in the first round, and yeah, he should be gone by like 15. Like, we'd be lying if we were like, oh yeah, like we know everything and we should.
Yes.
That's it's like, so what we're doing in this exercise is like based on what we know from seeing these guys all season long. What is this player all about? Like, why would this specific player be a fit for this specific team, and why would this player like actually be a really useful piece to have, right? Like, whether or not they have something at a specific position or whatever is like, in my experience, like very secondary. Like, the number of look at the New Jersey Devils, right? Like, I remember getting told so much that the New Jersey Devils shouldn't draft Logan Cooley because of all the centers they have, and they drafted Simon Nemec instead. One is having a certain career and the other is having a different career, right? Like, and
It's
so
a
it's
way
like,
of saying it.
there's more to the story than like looking at who you have on your NHL team and who you've drafted recently. And I mean, obviously there's a certain level of the fact that it matters, but in my experience, you just draft who you love and who's good, and you let the rest shake itself out, and at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some, right? Like, that's really the big thing. So, um, anyway, let's recap the entire draft here. We got a graphic ready to go. I got the official heads up here from the producer man. So let's get into this here. So AJ, run the graphic. we've got the Islanders at 1. I took Matthew Schaefer. Sam at 2 took Michael Misa to San Jose. I sent James Hagens to Chicago at 3. Porter Martone went to Utah at 4. I took Victor Eklund for Nashville. Anton Frondell went to Philadelphia at 6. I love this one. I sent Bill Zonin to Boston at 7, baby. You know it. Carter Bear to Seattle at 8. I sent Logan Hensler to Buffalo at 9. Caleb Desnoyers went to Anaheim at 10. I sent Lyndon Lakovich to Pittsburgh at 11. Radim Murtka went to 12 to the Rangers. I jumped the world and sent Eric Nielsen to Detroit at 13. Jackson Smith 14 to Columbus, and I took the opportunity and sent Jake O'Brien to Vancouver. And then Montreal back-to-back took Brady Martin and took the swing on Roger McQueen. Keyshawn Aitchison at 18. Cullen Potter 19 to St. Louis, the other STL team. Braden Coots went to Columbus at 20. Shane Vinsagi 21. Justin Carbonneau to Philadelphia at 22. Blake Fiddler 23 to Nashville. Carter Amico, respect, Sammy. Carter Amico to the LA Kings at 24. Malcolm Spence to Chicago at 25. We had Sasha Boumedienne going to Nashville at 26. I sent Ben Kindle to Washington at 27. Sam sent Cole McKinney to Winnipeg at 28. Carolina, I sent Cole Reshny. Cameron Reed went to San Jose. Will Moore went to Calgary. And Joshua Ravensbergen went to Philadelphia at 32. So that's, I mean, I'm looking at this and I don't see a whole lot where I'm like, if this didn't happen, like if this happened, I wouldn't be surprised. Like someone wrote Jake O'Brien at 15, are you high? I don't know. I think you and I would both agree. Like we like Jake O'Brien, but I don't think it's that.
It's the same as every other.
Yeah, he's going to be gone by then, but I personally think he's like a mid-first round guy. Like I like him, you know, but I like other guys a little more.
I also just think it's like every year, all it takes is 2 or 3 players being taken ahead because of positional need, like defensemen, which will happen this year, and 2 or 3 teams saying, we really like this guy, he's our number 2 on the board, we like someone else more, and 2 or 3 names that you really like are now mid-first round picks. It happens like every single draft without fail. Is Jake O'Brien going to be the one? Probably not. I don't think so. He'll probably be in that 8 to 12 range. I could see him being a Penguin. If I was doing it in reverse, he was going to be my guy for the Penguins.
Sure, that'd be fine.
I was considering him at 8 with Seattle for Carter Bear as well, but ultimately Seattle's got a lot of centers. Use the positional argument, if anything, to take Bear over O'Brien. It's close, man. Like making these calls is usually done on a pretty tight margin, and someone slips through almost every single time. The only like player that you can look at that and say like that's kind of a big reach going ahead of them would be like, I don't know, where do we think Eric Nielsen actually goes in the draft?
Oh, like 30, 35.
Right, but like with
do you think Bill Zonen's going that high too, Will?
No, Bill Zonen's not going that high. I mean, look, I think the way he plays in the NHL, whether it's regular season or playoffs, you're gonna want him on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, he and I would take him on my team any day. And I feel like Boston, they value guys like that. I just have that hunch. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he'd make a great Bruin. I think fans there would like. It wouldn't take very long for them to adore him there.
Yep. And on top of that, I would say that even if Zonin and Nielsen aren't the 2 reaches, which they probably won't be, it's going to be 2 other players you're not expecting. And there probably are going to be 2 reaches in the top 15 or 16. Is O'Brien the player who falls? Probably not. To be honest, I don't think Brady Martin is either. I kind of think both of them went a little further than we should expect them to go. Brady Martin could be going like 6th overall for all we know. Like, he plays that type of game and got a lot of eyes at him on him at the U18s, right? Like he could be going quite high. You picked Shane Vinsagi for Ottawa. I think a team could take him even higher than that.
Maybe.
Big, mean, smash. It's like, it's the formula, right? It's usually these are the types of players that we see, that these are the ones that go higher than people originally anticipate. And
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm
look at any draft. Like, just
any
go to any draft, right? Like, who would have, like, William Eklund going at 7 to San Jose, right? Like,
felt insane.
felt crazy. And if you look at his rankings, like on Elite Prospects, he was the number 1 ranked European in 21, and he was ranked top 5 by everybody. So, like, this kind of thing happens. Who's another one? I've pulled up Marco Casper. He went 8th overall. Nobody had him higher than 10, and that was Bob McKenzie. Connor Geeky went 11. Nobody had him higher than 13. Like, everybody had him like 15, 18, 25, like something like that. Leon Bissell, who we all saw in the playoffs this year be a giant jerk, 18th overall. Nobody had him higher than 26, right? Like,
you thought
Nathan
he was going to go to Ottawa, though, pretty high. That that's what you said. I remember seeing a Discord message saying, "Oh, I think I found Ottawa's next draft pick."
Yeah, exactly.
It was that dude.
And hey, look, if he ended up in Ottawa, it would be sick. The Ottawa Senators with Leon Bichelle on the team would be ridiculously silly. Yeah, I mean, he's played more games than never mind. Nathan Gaucher was another one, like, ranked in the 30s by a lot of people, in the 20s, and he went 22. Like, weird stuff happens all the time, right? Like, it's not uncommon. And
It's the name of the game.
Well, yeah, and like, I would never have thought Nate Danielson would have gone top 10, right? Like, teams have a very different read on things. And yeah, like, Beckett Seneca's another one, right? Like, nobody had Beckett Seneca anywhere close to the top 3. Like, the idea to me that Beckett Seneca would go not just 1 spot higher, but 2 spots higher than Ivan Demidov last year, like, even on the day of the draft, I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like, Demidov going 5th and having Celine Dion say his name doesn't make sense to me. But here we are, you know. Well, it makes sense to you, Sam. Yeah, I mean, I heard Sam's probably one of the best moments of his life live through I was at the draft and in the upper bowl, and I had my AirPods in, and we were on a Discord call, and I was watching the draft. And so I was way ahead of Sam in terms of, like, I was there live and he was watching online, and there's a delay. And I knew that Demidov was going to Montreal, and I just stayed quiet. I just shut up. Like, I was just like, I'm out. I'm gonna let Sam have this. I'm just gonna let Sam have his moment here. And then I'm pretty sure you blew out the microphone on your headset or something. Yeah. Like, there was a sound that came out of my headphones that I don't think I could replicate if I tried. And it was just like elation, and I was just so happy. But anyway, fun
that
times.
Was an awesome moment.
That was
was like one of the few rare moments that, since they started doing this from like a work side of things, and like a lot of the hockey fandom and passion kind of slips away from it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not look at everything analytically and kind of stuff like that, even with the home team. But that was one of those moments where, like, that childhood fandom came back out, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just 10 times louder.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, definitely 10 times louder.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, let's pivot over to catching up on the chat questions here for the rest of the show. Unless there's anything else going on that you guys
here's what I will say. Okay. Don't draft on need. Need is for free agency. All right? That is the best place to address need, because you know what you're getting way more than you do when you are drafting. And you can target those guys.
Historically, the best use of your draft picks is in a trade. Like, if you draft good players, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where it's like, man, we're a team that's in the playoffs. We need a big piece. I really wish we drafted this guy who we really liked instead of this guy who we drafted, because the team we're trying to trade with really would love that guy. And, like, we can't make the trade because what we did doesn't, like, we thought we needed it, but now we kind of regret. Like, it's like, just take the good, like, the players you think are good, right? And keep just building and building and building. And then you have a lot of weapons in the shed that you can then turn around. And also, the other thing too, don't underestimate the value of your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, right? Like, if you play your cards right, there are good players in the draft everywhere. I actually did a Google Gemini research project today. I'm going to plug AI, and I actually got it to run through draft results for the last 20 years and just find any sort of trends or correlations or anything that stuck out. And the thing that it kind of did say was, I lost my train of thought. Crap. But anyway,
Will needs AI to think for him.
I need AI to think for myself. Exactly. No, I mean, it did a lot of work for me. It was pretty insane. But I genuinely forgot what I was going to say. There was a point to it, I swear.
What was it? Was it about smaller players? It must have been.
It wasn't. It wasn't necessarily about smaller players. Oh, it was later round draft picks. It said that there was absolutely clear evidence that in every single NHL draft throughout the entire draft, there were players that worked out really well, especially when you consider their expected value at that draft pick. Like, if you play your cards right, it's not just about the first round. Like, obviously you don't want to whiff on your first round draft pick, but Sam, like, how many times have we been like following this over the years and looking at who's available in the second round and going,
and we're just like, what?
How is this even possible?
Second round's the best round, I find. Like,
second round is the best.
That's where the most fun guys get drafted. Like, Lane Hutson's a second round pick. Logan Stankoven's a second round pick.
I think we could, and I know it's a little too early to like say it like it's a slam dunk thing, but I still think one of the most insane things in recent memory was Andrew Crystal falling to the second round.
I mean, that I kind of understand, but like,
I understood it, but it was still like, I can't believe everybody agreed on it to that extent.
It was to the point where there was zero risk with that draft pick. Igor Chernyshov was 33rd last year. Like, to me, that's like,
because he got a sunburn.
Yeah, because he got a sunburn. Like, yeah, like all of the chatter and all of the talk that goes on before a draft kind of goes right out the window. Like, and it always happens too in the days leading up to the draft. Like, all of a sudden the chatter kind of starts leaking, and then everybody's draft board changes so fast. Like, everyone's like, oh, actually this guy is a top 10 guy or a top 5 guy after all, or whatever. So it's all about like your view and your opinion and what you think. And anyway, let's get into the questions, because I'm sure we won't crash out at all based on rereading a bunch of this stuff. Just start with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Too bad. While looking for information about an old BMW, the YouTube algorithm in its infinite wisdom eventually got me to Pictures Car YouTube. I learned that Lightning McQueen is older than Roger. Are you kidding me?
Amazing. I was a wee boy when that movie came out.
Were you a Cars kid?
Yeah.
Because that was the first, I think that was the first Pixar movie that I didn't see because I felt like I was too old to watch it. Because I was like 15 or something when it came out, 13?
Yeah.
Something like that.
What year Cars come out?
So I've seen Cars.
I think you would have been around 15,
like it.
Will. Cause
I like Cars.
I was around 5, I think, when it came out.
I was 9, and it was like one of my favorite movies ever. I was 6, but June, so I was 10.
So I was 5.
I was 15. Yeah.
I was 5.
I'm personally more of a planes guy myself. Cars just doesn't quite do it for me like Planes does. So anyway, but I don't know. My thoughts on that.
I'd say I'm the plane guy between us.
Oh yeah, you were.
That's true. Yeah, you're an actual plane guy. I don't. By the way, if you're going to be working on my plane that's flying to Charlottetown in a couple of weeks, please,
I won't be.
Please don't screw it up. Oh, okay, good. There we go. All right. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Thoughts on that is I'm old and Roger McQueen isn't.
That is so funny to me.
It is. Pick guy number 1. Yeah. Pick a guy first overall that's played 17 games in his draft year. I mean, to be
fair, I don't disagree with that logic, but he's so good.
In those games, number 1, I'm not concerned because number 1, he had mono at the beginning of the year and came back playing like that, which is pretty amazing. And 2, he broke his collarbone. Everybody breaks their collarbone. Like, it sucks that he didn't play, but there is zero, I don't think, long-term risk here. And also, like, having met him or know him, like, not knowing him, he's like not. He's a guy who will come back just fine. Like, he is
a character.
Like, I really
loved talking with Matthew. he was just awesome. Just an awesome dude.
He's got a personality, and I think he has so much potential, and I don't think he's going to waste it.
And he's one of the youngest guys in this draft.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to just say that. He's like a week away from being eligible for next year. Like, he's so good. Like,
there's a lot longer of a leash with his development, essentially.
Like, if he blew out both his knees in a water skiing accident, then yes, I probably would be a little more skeptical, but he didn't. So here we are.
But even if you were skeptical about that, the guy who you would take next is really awesome too.
Yes, he is also
Michael
really good too.
Is a really smart dude.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, what do you like better? Pizza or sushi? It's like, well,
I'm Italian, so I have to go pizza.
Well, yeah, you're obviously biased, but I'm just a white kid from Canada, so like, I just get the watered down version of both.
Excuse you, a munja cake from Canada.
Sure, whatever you want to call it. And so it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like eating pizza. I ate pizza last night and for lunch leftovers today. And sometimes I like eating sushi. It's just like, one is not necessarily better than the other. It just matters about. I mean, maybe some people like one more than the other, whatever. But anyway, we're getting off topic, and that's entirely my fault. And Sam has been nice, and he's totally along for the ride. And yes, I did get my haircut today. Slightly less unhinged.
That I'm not the one derailing this. It's usually me.
It's okay. There'll be opportunity for you to do it in the future.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
And you probably will.
Thoughts on Mikhail Ilyin signing his entry-level deal? I mean, not really. I've seen him a bit over the course of the year. He's a solid KHL player. I don't have any huge expectations for him in the NHL, but you never know. I mean, he's going to come over and play in the AHL maybe, and I mean, maybe they don't promise him an NHL job. I probably wouldn't promise him an NHL gig for next year, but I guess Pittsburgh's not like looking to be the most competitive team, so maybe. I don't know. I just don't have like huge expectations of Ilyin, but not a bad player. Are there any concerns about Lakovic with regards to his suspension for off-ice stuff last year? Yeah, I remember that happening, and from what I know about that situation, Sam, I don't know if you know much about it, but for me, as far as I know, it is all good. I feel like there was just some really weird stuff that went down, and I don't think he was directly involved, but he was sort of lumped in with it. I think everything's fine though in retrospect, but it was weird. I'm pretty sure I know what happened. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm not concerned. I guess to answer your question,
so there's no concern.
And to answer your question, the answer to me is no. I don't think so. Who do I need to shame for not picking Porter?
Well,
me. You're gonna.
That was really loud. Sorry, everybody.
I think Martone. I think Martone at 4 is pretty reasonable, but
sure. But you still didn't pick him, so you're getting the blame from a totally unbiased Steelhead fan.
Yeah, we got a lot of sass in my picks. Denoye should go instead of Nilsson. Well, I would ask the question why. You tell me why. And Lakovic instead of Zonin. Also,
you're
why?
Not the expert, bro.
Yeah, tell me what. You should tell me why if I'm so dumb. I don't know. God, I love Eric Nilsson. Just the best.
Okay, Will, why don't you tell this person why you pick Eric Nilsson over Caleb Denoye?
Because I think, well, number one, I saw Eric Nilsson play pro hockey this year against grown men, and he looked pretty darn good doing it. And we're not in the game of necessarily finding who scores the most points or who plays the most in front of your face. We're looking at who could be the best NHL player in like 5 years. And I see Desnoyers, and I see a guy who, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I feel like Nilsson and Desnoyers are probably going to end up in a similar spot on an NHL lineup anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But for me, also, I didn't even have a chance to pick Desnoyers, by the way. I picked Nilsson.
I was just looking at that.
Desnoyers went already. But anyway, the point is, like, I would look at a guy like Nilsson and I go, like, I feel like with Desnoyers, his best hockey happens once the puck is in the offensive zone. I feel like as a playmaker and as an offensive zone finisher, he is very, very good at it. I don't buy that those guys are often the most valuable guys out there. I don't really buy the physicality in his game projecting to the NHL as much. I know he was injured during the playoffs and injured at the Memorial Cup, but I mean, I've seen him all season long, and watching him play against those OHL teams and watching him play in the last little series in the QMJHL playoffs here and there, it was exactly what I thought it would be. And it's not to say he's a bad player, but I just don't. It's like, instead of him being one of the 5 best 17-year-olds in the world, I think he's one of the 15 best 17-year-olds in the world. And I don't think that's that crazy. But anyway, but with Nilsson, he could certainly be a very, very good player. Smart in all 3 zones, really physical, really skilled, elevates everybody he plays with, which I value way, 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 way more. And again, he just needs to fill out, because the style of play he has is it requires a little more development, I think. We got a lot of BS going on here about names that don't really exist.
I don't care. It drives engagements.
Are you cheating? Yeah, I actually was cheating. I actually have a remote desktop set up to see exactly Sam's thoughts. I see Sam's thoughts on my little monitor here, and I just
it's in my brain.
Yeah, I've got a Neuralink chip in there. I put it in there
during
we
COVID.
Watched the Habs.
During
we
COVID.
Watched the Habs. Yeah, I gave him a COVID vaccine, and he got a Neuralink chip stuck in there. So now I know whatever he's thinking all the time. Why do you think all those planes are crashing in the States? It's because I'm in Sam's mind, polluting.
Let's just not start this. I don't work in aviation. I work on trains.
I am undo Control Z.
Yeah, and I work in radio, not television, Sam.
Yeah. So I steal. Why do I steal his picks? Because I love Sam, and we think.
And because I just
we're all part of this collective hive mind.
5 or 6 picks in a row where I put the name down and it just went.
It was 3. It was 3.
3? I think it was 4. But anyway,
I think it was 4.
It was enough. It was
4.
Let's see if the Sharks trade with the Islanders. I mean, this happens every year too, right, Sam? Like,
we talking about pick?
Yeah, there was a report that came out today that Chicago even might be looking to move up, and San Jose might be looking to move up to 1. This is literally Sam. You know that
it's the smoke and mirrors show, baby.
It's so good every year.
Ooh.
It's the same script and the same
every single year.
And every year, nothing happens.
One of these years it will happen.
One of these years it will.
But I don't think it's going to. I don't think this one.
Yeah, I mean, if it does, then it would be awesome. It would be fun. But generally, teams go, I don't want to trade my pick for that much. Like, I saw someone suggesting like 2 second-round picks with
crazy.
The second pick to move up to first. It's no, why would you do that? Like, that's ridiculous.
Like, Schaefer and Misa are not that different in terms of value.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is what you are really doing is spending those 2 picks to potentially be wrong. With the second pick, you just get to be right.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Just be happy. It's like you get second
you
overall, you don't have to make the decision. That's it. It's just
it is very rarely worth it, and you never see it happen anyway. Like, when was the last time a pick? When, like, the Romanov thing was 13th.
The last time a second overall pick was traded that I could think of.
Ottawa, I think Ottawa traded a top 10 pick.
I could think of one instance, but it wasn't a pick. It wasn't going up. It was for Phil Kessel, and it was
that was a disaster. That was a disaster.
Hey,
and
the NBA.
We'll see what happens to Toronto in the next couple of seasons. Now that they don't have first-round draft picks.
In the NBA, Boston successfully sent out a smokescreen that they were going to take Markelle Fultz first in 2017, and then they ended up trading down to Philly and taking Jason Tatum at 3. Philly took Fultz.
That turned out well.
Correctly.
Oh God!
Right? That's kind of what happens to the move up team. The move down team tends to have a bit more confidence.
You do assume the risk. Yeah, you do assume the risk. And trading down, I mean, I'm always a fan of trading down. Honestly,
that's what's going to happen at the Carolina pick. That's what's probably going to happen.
Yeah, probably.
They ain't picking at 29.
Now that Mason West is committed to hockey, that's true. Mason West did commit to hockey. He might very well go in the first round. He might, but I wouldn't do it. Second round, I could see, but I don't think I'd pick Mason West in the first. Oh wow, we're already at questions from 29. Yes, I mean Reshny at 29. I wouldn't say it's a steal, but it is very good value, and it could work. But I think he is a long shot in the best way. Like if it works, it'll be great, and if it doesn't work, he'll never play in the NHL. Like I feel like there's no in between. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's the description for most NHL prospects in a draft, and Cole Reshny's actually bringing something substantial to the table.
Yes.
If only his height was equally substantial.
How many hockey pucks of height until he's big enough? This many? This many? You know, like it's not that big of a difference.
It's more so foot speed with him anyway.
Yes, it's more about the foot speed. Yeah. Do you think Mason West could go in the first round? Oh, I think Mason West could go in the first round. Sure. Everybody who doesn't want a 6'5" shot first forward who can play center and the wing, who's got some skill and looks like he weighs about 100 pounds. Who wouldn't want that? He'll probably go first round. He probably will. He's a mystery box. It could be a boat, Lois. Like he's that guy, I think, at this point.
It could be another mystery box.
It could be another box with another box in it. And the box could have a boat in it. All right. Did Nestrasil get picked? Nestrasil's another guy who might go first round in the real world, but I don't think I would do it. I maybe could see why, especially based on how our draft went. Like maybe at like 30, 31, 32, you could put him in part of the conversation based on how things shook out, but I don't know. I mean, I like Nestrasil, but the other guys ahead of him, I think I like more.
Yep.
The best right-handed prospect in the Shark system might be Nate Miskey. There's nothing on the right side. I mean, okay.
I'm talking about D?
I mean, yeah.
Who cares? You have Timothy Liljegren.
Like, do you want to give up on...
Seriously.
Like,
go get Henry
get
Henry Bruchstevitz if you want, but
if you really want a right-hand prospect, do you really want to give up on somebody who could just be like straight up better to hit some quota? Like it's about like
free agency
opportunity cost, right? Like you don't want to grab a right-handed guy for the sake of grabbing it, because what are you giving up to grab that? Like it's better to have 5 left-handed defensemen who are actually solid prospects than 3 left-handed defensemen who are solid prospects and 2 right-handed guys who are guys.
Yeah, and then you could also trade one of those guys too for something else. Like you could package it together as a value, like a more valuable asset, as opposed to like anchoring yourself to somebody.
It's asset management and like overall managing the team's capital and like making sure that the picks that you're using return value, maybe not in terms of on-ice roster product, but something to trade, depth in the system, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
It's like there are more than one way to get better, and drafting happens to be one of 3, really.
Here's another thing. If you're San Jose, you got 57th overall. Take Sean Barnhill. You have 85th overall. Take Quinn Beauchene. There's 2 good right-hand shot defensemen you can draft, and you'll be happy. I think those guys are very valuable, or could be very valuable. And relative to a guy like Hunter Bruchstevitz, who I'm not as big a fan of,
is it Henry this year?
Guys. Oh yeah, Henry. Yes, Henry. I get them. 2 H names. 2 children should not have, especially if they're the same gender. They should not have the same letters starting their names. Let alone number of syllables. You know, I think that should be illegal. If I were prime minister, I'm making that illegal.
You can try.
Yeah. Who would your hidden gem in the draft be? Well, we kind of said it. Michael Sverchek.
You've got others though. That's kind of the one
Potter?
Well, there are others. I mean, like I love Cullen Potter.
I'm waiting for you to say Leo Sundqvist.
Leo Sundqvist, I think, is really good. I mean, he's like I don't know. He's like a boom guy with no floor, but I really like him, and I like Gustav Hillstrom. Yeah, I mean, there's also some big guys I like: Prokhorov, Genborg, Nestrasil. They didn't get picked in our thing. Wozniak is fine. Stuxelius is pretty interesting. They're all good players.
Riker Lee, baby.
Yeah, Riker Lee. Yeah, but he might go first round. I don't know. Maybe.
I wanted to take him so badly.
I had a feeling you might, but you held yourself
I was trying to be reasonable, or else Cullen Potter would have went to the Habs.
Yeah. Okay. Someone here used to say that defense is for nerds. Defense is for nerds, Derek. Defense is for nerds. But
we
sometimes
happen to be nerds, unfortunately.
Exactly. We happen to be nerds, and we like defensemen who can defend. And defense is important, even if it's for nerds. And we are proud nerds. At least I am.
Yeah, I've accepted it, and I'm proud of it now.
We did get questions if we're high on drugs. We are not high on drugs. We're high
not
on
yet. Not yet.
No, well, no. We are high on life. We're high on this new summer weather here in Canada. It was a beautiful day where I'm at. I don't know about you guys, but it was.
Yeah,
I live 10 minutes from you.
No, I know, but I don't know if you like. Yeah. Maybe there was some weird weather system that, like, the dividing line was the Burlington Skyway or the whatever it's called Skyway, and between the two of us there was this, like, I don't know, just this weird split. Stranger things have happened. I've seen Twister.
I do.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes,
I do find it funny that you live 10 minutes from Will and work 10 minutes from where I live. So
that's true. Yep.
I have not once actually thought about it that way until just now.
Well, neither had I until you mentioned it with Will. So
I wish, and I don't take this the wrong way, I wish I didn't work 10 minutes from you.
No, I get it.
That's a far ass drive.
I get it.
Hey.
I wish I worked 10 minutes from where I live, that's for sure.
Okay. Thoughts on Ethan Zada? Ethan Zada is fine. He is, in my viewings of him, I liked him at the U18s, but to me, he's like a solid third line energy guy who is not. He is smart. He knows where to go. I just don't know if he'll do it in the NHL. That's all. Like, if a team really loves how he interviews and they really think they could turn him into like a heavier, bottom six forward, I think you could do it. It just depends on where you're drafting a guy like that. He's probably one of the more projectable guys I don't have ranked, but I don't dislike Sada at all. I think he's a very admirable player, but I don't know if it'll be NHL level, but I'm happy to be. I could see myself being wrong on that, and I'd be happy to be wrong because I like how he plays. I just don't know. I don't know, Sam, if you have anything to add, or we just keep going.
Keep going with it. I think you did fine.
All right. Jordan Milletta's here, so he can take a hike.
Two geniuses took Cole McKinney.
Yeah. Well, Sam and Jordan. Sam likes Jordan more than me, and Jordan likes Sam more than me, so it's okay. Thoughts on Tynan? No. Jordan doesn't like anybody.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And nobody likes Jordan.
I was literally gonna say that, and then didn't.
Jordan doesn't like anybody. Thoughts on Tynan Lawrence?
Except for Ethan Belchez.
Yeah, it's Ethan Belchez. Hey, Ethan Belchez doesn't need to catch strays on this show, right? Like, he's a good player. Good player. Thoughts on Tynan Lawrence? The kid could be a stud.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Sam. Sam, you can fire off on Tynan Lawrence then, because I don't know as much. I don't think
he is hella good, super smart, super skilled. Love to see him play. Kind of can't wait to see what he's gonna do next year. First time I watched Lawrence was, oh my god. Actually, like, I need to see what year he was at.
Probably 2 years ago, right?
It would have. I think it was 2. No, I think it was 2. No, it was. No, it was last year. I think I might have been familiar with him with Shattuck the year prior, but.
Oh yeah, he's a Shattuck kid. Forgot about that.
Yeah, he's a Shattuck kid. That's where I saw him at first, and when he was with Shattuck, it was exactly as disgusting as you were picturing it in your head.
It was not Shat.
He ripped everybody apart because he's so far beyond that
level of Shattuck dominance.
I mean, Scott Morrow was a draft year.
Yeah,
that's kind of Tynan Lawrence was just like on Shattuck at the ages that you're expected to be on Shattuck.
Fair
And
enough.
he was just easily one of their best players, like every game that you saw him with. Very, very good player. He was almost a point per game in the USHL this year as well.
He was pretty good.
-1,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, and
really good.
I caught him with Muskegon, like never did a shift by shift, so I don't want to speak too much on his USHL tape, but the glitter plays, like when you notice him in the background or something, it's just like, oh, who was that? Tynan Lawrence. Yeah, that checks out is typically what goes through the head.
Do you remember your first glitter player, Sam?
No. I couldn't possibly tell you who my first.
I remember who my first glitter player was.
I know the answer to this, but I can't remember.
Do you?
I think you've told me before, but I don't remember.
It's somebody I really like.
Is it gonna be? Is this?
If you say Fabian Lysell, I'm gonna lose my mind.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay,
no, it's not Fabian Lysell. That was like the first guy I watched when I had his stat. Because I'm like, his name's sick.
What draft year? At least make it slightly easier.
So I was watching 2021 guys at the time. This guy is a 2023.
Watching 2020. Oh, I know. Yep, I know the guy.
Yeah.
Yep, I got it. Yep.
Just
I want to say it's Gavin Brindley.
No,
I think it's Gavin. What? Oh,
I would have been like, why? How would AJ have seen Brindley 2 years before?
Because he played in the USHL for 2 seasons.
You're on the right track,
went to
though.
college.
You're on the right track.
He was in the USHL when he was like 6. He was like 15.
It was. I just didn't think that's somebody he was going to see.
2023 draft.
Come on, man.
What? Oh, was it Adam Fantilli?
Yeah, it was.
Adam Fantilli. Yeah,
yeah, it was.
Here's the difference between a glitter player, though, is when you watch them, they're not.
But Fantilli would have been 16, right? Like,
good.
Anyway.
Tynan Lawrence, I guess.
All I remember hearing is the Chicago Steel commentator going Lion King with his nasally voice, because he always comes up with nicknames for those guys. And dude, Adam Fantilli was so sick. The broadcast was just glazing at him like, yeah, they're right. This guy's so good. Good.
Yep.
He was.
Apparently I have an angry mob at my doorstep tonight because I didn't put Martone down at one of my picks. I've got a Ring doorbell dog and it's always recording, so enjoy going to jail. What do we got here? No way in hell the Preds pick Eklund at 5. Well, then you're going to lose out on a very, very good player. So have fun with that. Since the Panthers don't have premium picks in this year's draft and we're only picking in the later rounds, are there underrated guys from Finland that fit our system at defense or forward?
Of course you'd want to go to Finland as a...
I mean, that makes sense.
I think Florida's kind of cornered the market on those guys already.
Finland is pretty much entirely encapsulated by Dallas and Florida. All the Finns are there.
And a bit of Carolina.
To answer your question, I don't think there's anybody really that fits what I would say Florida would want that is Finnish. This year, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I think there are guys that Florida would like later on in the draft, I don't know. Florida with a Sean Barnhill or I don't know. Dib. I don't know. Jacob Rombach.
That sound.
I am stalling here. My brain is slow.
Sound like
I don't know.
Porky Pig.
Okay. And then there's a whole bunch of people going pick guys who were picked outside the first round. Matt Nye's second round, Duncan Keith second round, Simon Wang first round. Yeah, that's the name we didn't mention is Simon Wang first round. But I mean, that's probably it. I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
If the Leafs had the pick, that's what I imagine they would do.
Yep. Do you think Nilsson could fall to round 3? I don't think so. I don't think not at this point. It seems like he's going to be somewhere in the 30 to 40 range. But if he's there, I mean, look, teams, my team Scouching boys, we got a pick at what, 50 something this year? Let's see. We got a pick at 61. Oh, right, because it's either 61 or 62, because I think it's Florida's pick. And if Nilsson is there, I am hammering that real hard. And if it's not him, it might be a guy like Svirchek. And if not him, I have a goalie listed here. So
if it's not one of those two, Will's gonna cry.
Yeah, if it's not one of those two guys, I'm going goalie. And if it's not any of those guys, I am gonna see if Cameron Schmidt is still available there, because Cameron Schmidt doesn't seem to be a guy destined to go very high in the draft. But at 61, I would happily take the chance on him. Anyway, favorite type of pizza?
I've really grown on a good old margarita pizza.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just au naturel. Yeah.
Just like so classic.
We're talking we're talking wood oven pizza when you say margarita. Okay.
Yes. Like blast oven.
Yeah, margarita.
The best.
But if we're talking Italian American pizza, we're talking pepperoni for me. But margarita is the best when it comes to like classic Neapolitan wood oven.
Is it sacrilegious to say that I like pizzas that have like prosciutto on it?
I don't really care. I'm not
to me is a nice
look, I'm not a fascist, all right? I'm not a food fascist like my family in Italy. Because I can't you can't put ricotta cheese on a pane pomodoro in Italy, all right?
How dare you?
Without my great aunt Marcella going, no, no ricotta, pane pomodoro, no. Even though it was delicious.
I had a pizza once that was prosciutto with arugula, and it had like balsamic vinegar on it. That was
I've had something like that before too.
That was pretty darn good. It was like a salad but on a pizza, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I will any people in Italy watching the show might want to rip my head off. Thoughts on the NCAA and OHL? They are places that people go to play hockey. I mean,
good places.
One of the things about being a Canadian that I wish made what I was American. One of the things I wish I was an American for is the U.S. colleges and the college hockey world, because I went to a college in Canada that didn't even have a hockey team, so I didn't even get any kind of experience with university hockey. So sucks to suck, I guess.
I got it. I was forced to cover U of T games for free as part of my program.
It's a shame.
It was not.
Who's fun. Nilsson? Eric Nilsson, your garden center. He's sick. Seen Paravalov. What?
Continue.
Have I seen Alexander Paravalov play for Metallurg Magnitogorsk this year? No. Sam, have you? Have you seen any Magnitogorsk this year? No? Okay.
Yeah, you know that answer is no. Come on.
I actually don't, Sam. I don't. I'm just making sure because I don't want to steamroll you. Would you be shocked if Anton Frondel is picked at #1 over Schaefer? Yes.
I would literally poop.
I would be stunned.
On the spot, I would defecate.
I would be stunned. It would be quite incredible. Should Boston trade Fabian Lysell for the first overall pick? No. Nope. You're trading a future Hart Trophy winner there, man. Like, what are you doing?
I don't even understand why you would add McDavid to it, and then we can chat.
Right. Oh, right. I forgot about the Canucks trading their first round pick for OEL and Connor Garland. That's pretty. I forgot about that. That's crazy.
Dylan Gunther, who was that pick, by the way.
Right. Thoughts on Roger McQueen not being the high upside prospect he's perceived to be? I think his defense and physicality is good, and his shot is one-timer. IQ and playmaking are nothing special. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think McQueen is going to be a fine if he stays healthy. I could see him being a really good sort of physical third line guy.
The mystery box.
What? He is a mystery box.
What's he going to be?
But I mean, look, if he's a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick, like that's.
Well, we're gonna freeze time on every one of these prospects except for Roger McQueen. Only Roger McQueen's gonna get better. You got to think like that.
That's true.
Then you'll put him.
But first. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you though. Like I like McQueen. Like he's fine. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, do I think he's one of the 10 best guys in the draft? No, in terms of the whole world. Do I think in the whole world he's one of the 20 best? I would probably put him in that group, sure, but. I don't know. I hope he's healthy, right? I'm not trying to say that I don't want him to ever be healthy, but the chatter around the injury is not amazing, which is troubling. And so
When you say that word, it irks me so much. I don't know why.
What?
Chatter.
Oh, chatter. Oh, because it's like
it sounds so lazy.
I agree. It's annoying. I agree. It's part of
it's such a lazy word.
Yeah. What would you use instead, Smarty Pants?
The discussion.
The discussion.
The vibrations.
What am I, a university professor? Please.
Well, you're trying to sound smart, and then you say the chatter.
Yeah, we're in sports, man. You can't be too smart. Okay.
Chatter works.
You got to balance it out here.
It just irks me so much when I hear
You're the guy
chatter.
who wants the views, bro. You want the interactions, and we're not going to get any interactions saying the word discussion. That's too many syllables, you know?
But it sounds smarter.
But the chatter.
No, stop it, please.
Still think Murtka may go second to the Sharks
so
over Schaefer. Schaefer falls.
Please stop.
Okay.
I mean, Murtka going second would also be, if it's Frondell Murtka 1-2, I will
quit.
That would be a good
I will quit.
Well, I did say that if Rio Kaiser gets drafted by the Anaheim Ducks because he's the biggest guy available, I would eat, what was it? A shoe? What did I say I would eat? I said I would eat something on camera, but I mean,
wasn't it your yoga mat?
Oh yeah, I was gonna eat the yoga mat that's over there. right. I was gonna eat the yoga mat. If you love Liljegren so much, why don't you marry him? AJ, it's Pride Month, man. It could be a big thing. You know, it'd be cool.
Listen, my man crush is William Nylander. Okay, that's the one I'm allowed to have.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's true. You can only have one, legally speaking.
Yep.
Otherwise
you become questioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of just scroll through the rest of the comments. There's a few.
Yeah, I mean, what do you see?
There's something that stood out. It's not so much a question, more like a comment, but Shane Vinsagi is the most overrated prospect. Opinion fair to have, but you can traditionally find guys like him in the 5th round. No, you cannot find guys like Shane Vinsagi in the 5th round. What you can find are big dudes who can technically throw hits. You do not have guys buzzing around NCAA ice killing people.
Yeah, like my retort would be who?
Like I legitimately cannot think of one
I can't
guy
think of
who's
it.
been like this taken in like who goes past the 2nd round in the last like 5 years. Who's like actually does it with pace is the
there's gonna be a lot of big guys drafted because this happens every year where you just go, all right, like Nico Addy, sure, I guess could be a big one.
Yeah.
Maceo Phillips, he's a defenseman, but like I like Skvortsov, but he's not like Matthew Gard, but I don't like Gard nearly as much as I like what's his name? Will Horkoff, Jack Nesbitt.
These are not guys, most of them are not going to be there in the 5th round, and most of them aren't guys I'm really jazzed to see play, but Vinsagi, someone who you can see like how everything in its current form plays NHL minutes and doesn't piss off the coach.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we have here? Yeah, I agree, Mr. Steelheads fan, there are no geniuses talking during the stream. I agree. Thoughts on Hayden Papan? Thoughts on Hayden Papanekis? Looks really fluid and massive underlying skill. I mean, I don't mind him. I think I agree there's like good skill with him, but every time I've watched him and tracked data on him, he just doesn't really like actually drive that much of the game. Like it's kind of like you're betting on him to really develop another gear and a level of physical resilience that he doesn't really have. But yeah, I'd say in terms of like skill level, he's probably one of the better ones I don't have ranked. But yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be a guy I'm like super excited to draft and he's going to be gone pretty quick. Can you rank the top 10 center prospects in their draft years from the last 2 drafts and this one?
He does add an amendment to this where it doesn't have to be 10. Just how does Misa stack up against the last couple drafts? Top centers.
well, in that case,
Adam Fantilli is clearly the best center from the 2023 draft. So
yes.
not comparable.
Who
Adam
cares about Connor
Fantilli's
Bedard?
the GOAT.
I mean, I don't put Misa ahead of any of those three, Bedard, Carlson, Fantilli at all.
They were stacked.
But I wouldn't put him ahead of Celebrini, but I would put him ahead of Lindstrom.
Yes.
So probably 5 amongst all those centers. Like, yeah.
And those are 4
like
extremely good centers ahead of him.
I'd probably put him ahead of Catton.
I would, but it's close. That's
it's a little closer, but I like him more than Catton. I had Oliver Moore really high, but I'd put him ahead of Oliver Moore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
it makes
definitely
because it's my zippy boy.
5.
But
who doesn't love Oliver Moore, right? Actually, quite a lot of people probably. Do you draft a guy? Oh, never mind. You draft a guy to be on your 3rd or 4th line and score 12 to 16 goals a year in the first round. I mean, if you get anything in the late 10 picks of the draft, especially in this class, and they are scoring almost 20 goals a season, I think you're pretty happy. Who is the one prospect you mentioned that would be a reach, but a fun one? He plays like a rat. God, I don't remember. Who was it? He'd be a reach and he plays like a rat.
You have a name, Sam? Why you want to share with the class what you're thinking?
No, I just love the discussion. Is this from a past stream? Because I don't remember it being mentioned today. But
I mean, I think like Ivan Ryabkin fits that bill. Who is a bit of a I mean, Cameron Schmidt has a bit of that in his game. But like last year there was if you're thinking last year, Jacob Therrien was one. That one was crazy.
Chance that the comment is referring to the draft and maybe when you were talking about Shan Vinsagi?
I think that's what it might have been.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Let's continue here. Chicago Thin Crust Tavern. I do need to go back to Chicago and eat some food there because I haven't been in a long time and I loved it.
I had some awesome tapas in Chicago.
Yeah. Prosciutto, goat cheese, fig, and arugula with olive oil. That's the stuff. That's legit, Reginald. That's legit. McQueen reminds me.
Reginald.
Yeah. McQueen reminds me of Kirby Doc, but he could be Jason Arnott. Now there's an interesting thought. Good one. Thoughts on Konstantin Kuzminik. Now there's a name I have not heard in a very long time. Konstantin Kuzminik. He is one of the players of all time. Anyway, let's finish the show here. What slang was the main slang you used when you were in high school? Well, the kids in the grade, let me just put it this way. It's Pride Month, so I'm going to do this. When I was in high school, the movie Brokeback Mountain came out, and for anyone who doesn't know, my last name is one of those words, and so I got that thrown at me. I got that thrown at me a lot, and there's a word that starts with F that is fallen a little out of favor, and that's a word that was thrown around a lot in my high school experience when I was 15 or 16.
Some things never change.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think there was that much like slang when I was in high school. It was more like movie quotes. Like everybody was just talking in movie quotes.
There was definitely a lot of slang.
It wasn't slang. It was just slurs.
Yeah, there was just a lot of slurs. Yeah, it was a different before Facebook. Yeah. It was a different time.
No, dude, no, it's not too dissimilar. Like I think my school was a little more tame, but there was not hard R's, but soft A.
Oh no! Oh boy!
Stuff.
Canadian high school is not that much different, it seems, than our neighbors to the south. It seems. Anyway,
yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I'm trying to remember.
There's a lot of slang. There's like early Toronto man slang when I was in high school.
You ting.
Never say that again, please.
Yeah, I'm too old to do that, aren't I?
Oh,
I'm
God.
too old.
I feel gross saying it. I hated it at the time too. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cringe. It's definitely one of the cringer things about this area of the world.
Yeah, man. It is bad, and
yeah, it's bad.
You just sound like an uncivilized in person when you say some of those things.
Well, it is what it is. People will say what they say, how they say it. Anyway, do you get 8 hours of sleep a night regularly around draft time? I don't usually get 7 hours of sleep anyway, so there's that.
Well, it gets like 5. I see him up at like 3 in the morning.
No, it's like I get like 6 or 7 every night. I mean, I work for myself, so my hours are a little bit weird, but yeah, it's like 6 or 7. But around honestly,
9, yeah.
honestly, around draft time, like I'm busy, but it's not as like hectic busy as all the time leading up. Like now's the time of the year where it's like if I've done all the work leading up to this month is actually kind of easy. Like it's a lot of like recording and video production and writing
at Rayanne
and yelling at Rayanne to do work, you know. But at the end of the day, yeah, like it's relatively straightforward. Right now, I'm just trying to cram as much as I can before I go away for a week before the draft. And then draft week, like we just have fun, honestly. Like it's just going to be a lot of fun. So it's a little easier actually, but it's also still very, very, very busy.
It's like your last semester of high school. That's kind of the way to describe Will's June.
Yes,
he's exactly. He's half checked out at this point, but he knows his stuff by now.
I've done the work.
Yeah,
I've studied.
I've done enough to get a passing grade.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hope. Does Carter Amico still get taken in the second round despite being injured? Yes, he'll definitely. I would do it. And yes. Do you have Vinsagi ahead of Martin? No, I have Martin ahead of Vinsagi. Misa is way better than Catton. I agree. It's just we're going through all the centers, and I liked Catton a lot last year. Is Easton Cowan the GOAT of the London Knights? No. Rob Schremp. Rob Schremp is the GOAT of the London Knights. Easy.
It's my boy who's leaving.
Mitch Marner. I mean, Mitch Marner on the London Knights was pretty spectacular. Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah. They've had some pretty amazing
Christian
players.
Dvorak center them?
Yes, he did.
Yes. Corey Perry was a London Knight.
Patrick Kane was a London Knight.
Patrick Kane was kind of cracked.
Yeah. What was your favorite movie growing up? Oh my god, I had a ton. I mean, I pretty much wore the tape out of my Star Wars VHS. And if you're unfamiliar, a VHS is a strand of magnetic tape that is on 2 spools that you placed in a box.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. I used it for the first 6 years of my life before everybody's like, let's just use CDs.
Right. Yeah. I grew up on VHS tapes, and I mean, when I was young, Star Wars was the one that I was obsessed with for a long time.
I can't imagine doing the job I do now with just VHS tapes, because I imagine that's what they used to do.
Terrible. Oh, it was I used magnetic tapes for a while when I was younger, but anyway, Sam, what were you going to throw in there?
I called you a dork.
Oh, me a dork. Okay,
what's your favorite movie?
What was yours growing up?
Movie as a kid?
Nerd. Barbie's Dreamland.
How old are we talking here?
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain.
Mary Kate and Ashley Have a Sleepover. Is that the one you loved?
Probably. How old
that was
a
good movie,
here?
actually. Well, I don't know.
When you were a kid, it doesn't matter. Like, what's a distinct a movie you remember loving when you were a kid? It doesn't matter.
Borat.
I'm about to sound like the most cliche thing in the world, but you're talking to a Harry Potter kid.
Oh,
fair enough.
Fun.
Like,
that's fun. Hey,
I don't know. I was like 4 when the first movie came out, and it was like the first movie I ever remember seeing in theater.
I dressed up as Harry Potter as a kid because I actually used to have glasses, and I have a scar over, like a very small scar over my eye.
I was Harry Potter for Halloween. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row.
Oh boy, I love that.
You're a wizard, Sam.
You're a wizard, Sammy. All
my homies hate JK.
I got the book. I got the first book when it was new, like that. That was it was a bedtime. Yeah,
you
when
old,
the first book
you old man.
Yeah, my mom read me that book. That's how old I am.
What year was that? 1996. I was
I think it
baby.
was like, yeah, I was like, I think I was 5.
Was not alive.
I was 5 when it came out.
I wasn't even alive.
I think I was 5 when it came out, and then I read all the other ones on my own. I don't remember when the movie came out. I think the movie came out after the 4th book or something like that. Oh, buddy, that was a time. What a time to be a kid.
I don't remember a time without the Harry Potter movies.
I do.
Yeah, they were like the big event every 2 years. Were just like childhood defining.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time I spontaneously dropped in the stream was talking about slurs, I'd have $2. Thank you, David. Enjoy your.
Hey.
By the way, I should mention, we're not using them. We're talking about them. We're not using them for the, keep that in mind. Very.
And also, the first time it came up was because of Tony saying that he would use slurs against me because I didn't like the Buffalo.
And he was supposed to be here tonight and he chickened out. So there's that. Maybe we avoided a real controversy.
No, you know what probably happened? He probably said slurs and got canceled. Knowing Tony.
Well,
love him.
I feel like he would tell me in it, but he's been radio silent. Maybe
I'm trying to.
Who knows? He's doing whatever. But anyway,
enjoy those $2.
Yeah, don't spend them all in one shop. I mean, it's physically impossible to spend less than $2 these days. Do you have any any good or so bad it's good dad jokes? Well, neither of us are parents.
Well, and I'm not either.
Oh, I have a good one. Here's a good one.
Oh no.
What do you call someone who has no arms and no legs and is stuck in the ocean?
This is gonna be an anti-joke, isn't it?
Bob.
I was so prepared to judge whatever you said, and I'm actually impressed.
Yeah.
I'm not going up against that.
What?
Here, I don't know if this is a dad joke, but I like this one. Where'd Susie go when the bombs exploded?
Everywhere?
Yeah. Everywhere. Everywhere is right.
Is that a dad joke? That's not a dad joke.
No, I said it wasn't. It's just my favorite joke.
Oh, I see. Yeah. What do you get when you take someone with no arms and no legs and put them in a swing set?
They fall off, right?
They fall off. Those aren't dad jokes, though.
Those are anti-jokes. I like
those are anti-jokes. Those are my favorite. I love anti-jokes. See, we're Eric Andre people here. Yes. We're I think
we just need an Asian lady to play us in every time.
I just went to this one's good. I just went to Dad Jokes, the subreddit, and the top one ever was breaking news. Iran has struck its own submarine with an underwater torpedo in the Persian Gulf, killing all 350 aboard. Whoops, wrong sub. And it's posted in the Dad Jokes subreddit. So there's man.
Man.
All right, so do we want to get out of here before we get canceled?
Let's get out of here then. Yeah, before we get canceled, let's go home. I am home, but we're all at home. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we've tilted enough people tonight. I can't wait to see the discussion. It is our job. I mean, look, we did it earnestly. We stand by the takes. We have informed takes, and we mean them. And that's the point.
And that's the point. What we say here is gospel. And if you say anything else or listen to any other source, it is heretical, and we don't want you here.
Yeah, blasphemy. Well, Pope Leo is my dad. I'll call him, and they'll take care of you.
You'll be excommunicado.
Yeah, you'll be excommunicado. You'll be persona non grata on the planet.
On these parts.
You'll be sent to Mars and see what happens. You're on your own once you get there. But anyway, Sam, thanks again. AJ, thanks again. We will be back Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. And we'll see you around.
My final thoughts are no cup for the Leafs in 2025, baby.
2026.